Well, hello, and lovely to have you tuning in for this midweek podcast here on Wednesday, the 13th of May. It's great to have you listening along. And if this is the first one, or you've listened before and you've been part of the Rev Pete's pods for the last how many weeks, it's lovely to have you. We have a sort of longer one on a Sunday, and then these ones are midweek. Usually have a little bit of a thought for the day or thought for the week, and a few little less contributors, but hopefully something that keeps us going during these weeks. It's been an interesting week, hasn't it, with Boris Johnson giving his speech at the weekend, and then the sort of all the unpacking of that, the 50-page document, and where we stand with it all, and how it affects us. And our family, certainly, we're all affected in different ways by the announcement of whether we can or can't do the next stage, what we're hoping to do, what things would be there and what things would be cancelled, how we look forward to the next few months. It's all quite difficult and plays with our brains quite a lot, doesn't it? So I hope these podcasts will give some stability in that, to recognise God's presence with us through the days, through this difficult time, through the valley, the shadow of difficulties, and on into the green pastures at another point, hopefully soon. So today I've got Tom Tuck with me, not just reading the Bible, but we're going to have a chat with him in a minute, and also Susan Bell giving the thought for the day, and there'll be some music as well to enjoy. So the first thing we're going to do is join in with some music. This is a interpretation of Psalm 139 by Alan Kirkland, and it's Lord, You've Searched Me.
All my
So, as I said in my introduction, it's great we've got Tom Tuck with us today. Tom, nice to hear from you. And how are you?
Well, very well. Covered in paint currently. I've been decorating the new house that I will be moving into very, very shortly. So, very exciting.
So, yes, we're actually speaking to you within Stapleford rather than what we have been, which is across the other side of the city in Sherwood. You're currently in the curate house as we speak.
I am, yes.
Yeah, hoping to move in about 2 weeks' time, and
That's the plan.
all going well. Yeah, it'd be brilliant to have you around and much more local. Maybe we'll be able to meet you in the park now, 2 meters distance.
Yep, that would be an idea. I'm down.
Yeah, and meet some of your parishioners, no doubt. But the plan is then that you're going to be not ordained in July because we won't be able to hold big cathedral services at that point, but you're going to be licensed in the parish and start working. But your ordination to be your first part of your ordination's end of September at the moment, I think, isn't it?
That is the plan, yes. We'll see based on what the government's saying at the time. It's all up for grabs, isn't it?
It is really. The main thing is you will be in the parish and be working with us from July in whatever way or shape or form church ministry will look like at that point. But we're very much looking forward to that. But in the meantime, you've been busy, you've been at college, but you've also been doing your own thinking into the current situation we're in and what's going on. And what are some of the recent things you've been reading and thinking about, Tom?
Well, the other day I came across something that a guy called Pete Gregg has written, and he's a guy that heads up something called 24/7 Prayer, if you've come across that before. And he was just writing on his social media accounts about some of the signs of the times that he's been picking up on in this period of lockdown and the coronavirus. And there were some very interesting statistics that he was kind of sharing on that post, and they kind of caught my attention.
And so tell me more. Is it all about like the growth of the online church, as it were, almost by accident? But here we are doing one right now. But what are some of the findings?
Well, he kind of has dragged together loads of findings from different media outlets and surveys done by people like Tear Fund, and they've said things like that online bookstore, so an online bookstore called Eden, which is a Christian bookstore, have reported a 55% increase in sales of Bibles.
Yeah.
They've found things like that instead of 5 to 7% of the nation attending a church service like we would normally expect, that has risen in the past couple of months to 24% of the nation, which is, millions of people have started engaging with church in some way.
Is that measured by clicks on a YouTube channel or something? I mean, how do we know that people aren't just sort of clicking on for 10 seconds and clicking off and, well, that's it? We don't know, do we?
I guess the trouble is there we don't, because the internet doesn't work like that, unfortunately. But it's certainly an interesting thing that at least, we've had like at least a 20% increase in people, whether accidentally engaging with church or on purpose engaging with church. It's quite a large number of people, engaging in a way they never would have done.
I suppose if you multiply, if you think with all the churches, lots of churches have websites, and often the bigger churches have done things online, smaller ones have shied away from that. But now, if you multiply all the numbers of churches that are putting stuff out there daily or weekly, it's phenomenal, isn't it? Phenomenal growth of exponential growth, I guess.
Yeah, for sure. And that is what Pete Gregg in this blog post has kind of picked up on, and he kind of calls them the signs of the times and talks about them not being the kind of sum of what we've been praying for, but actually that it is part of what we've been praying for. For some of us, for a very long time, we've been praying for this thing that sometimes we like to call revival. And these are signs of it happening.
ordinary people doing ordinary stuff all around the country, just randomly doing it all together. It's very beautiful, really, isn't it? I mean, is it something that you're particularly keen on, or the sort of online thing? Have you thought much about it up to this crisis, or is this like, whoa, maybe this is a new reality?
Yeah, I mean, it's not something that has been on my radar before, really. I'm not a huge fan of social media. I don't really engage with the world in that way often. But actually, that is the only way we have to engage with lots of other people at the moment. And then it appears that it's working to some extent for the church and for lots of other, facets of society. But people are engaging with what we have to put out, and it's just really interesting about what that might look like going into the future when we can meet in person again. How are we going to capitalize on that opportunity that we've had?
All really interesting stuff, and very early days it feels like, but a really good start in this whole direction. Well, thanks very much for that, Tom. I'd be interested if you're listening along and you wouldn't count yourself as a regular member of the church, but you're still listening along and you've listened along to a few of these. I'd be really grateful if you got in touch and said what attracted to you to listen to this, and to what it is that's helped you engage with church at this time, if that's something you're not normally used to doing. So please do email me on peter.hucks@virginmedia.com. Yeah, and it'd be great to hear from you and to respond to you. So thank you very much, Tom, for that. And we're now going to hear your pre-recorded self reading from the Bible. It's from John chapter 15, starting at verse 1. This is the famous Jesus saying, "I am the true vine." And it's great to hear this passage, perhaps in the light of what we've just been discussing, as the kingdom and the gospel reaches out in different branches, not just real physical ones, but virtual ones as well. So have a listen to this. And then Susan Bell is going to give a reflection. And as Susan gives a reflection, we'll be showing some photos of her garden. Susan's been very industrious, taking some lovely pictures, and that will just help us with this image of growth and new life. So over to Tom, and then over to Susan.
I am the true vine, and my Father is the gardener. He cuts off every branch in me that bears no fruit, while every branch that does bear fruit, he prunes so that it will be even more fruitful. You are already clean because of the word I have spoken to you. Remain in me, as I also remain in you. No branch can bear fruit by itself. It must remain in the vine. Neither can you bear fruit unless you remain in me. I am the vine. You are the branches. If you remain in me and I in you, you will bear much fruit. Apart from me, you can do nothing. If you do not remain in me, you are like a branch that is thrown away and withers. Such branches are picked up, thrown into the fire, and burned. If you remain in me and my words remain in you, ask whatever you wish, and it will be done for you. This is to my Father's glory, that you bear much fruit, showing yourselves to be my disciples.
I'm really enjoying being in my garden. It's a lovely time of year as leaves appear and the spring flowers bring such variety and colour. As one flower fades, another comes into bloom, and this helps to keep the sense of time passing. I'm spending time gardening when I might be better getting other jobs done that I keep putting off, but it gives me so much pleasure. I've started pruning the earliest shrubs that have finished flowering, and this has mostly involved just cutting them back so that they can grow again to flower next spring. But some plants require more care and skill. To get the best looking rose, for example, as well as cutting out the dead and diseased wood, you cut to encourage outward growing shoots in an open plant. This pruning produces new growth and the best flowers. God's pruning is careful and skilled. He knows us intimately. It's done at the right time and in the right place to produce good fruit. It may seem brutal at the time and leave the plant looking stunted and damaged for a while, but the care in which it is done can be seen as the plant regrows and thrives. Sometimes when this pruning happens, it may be painful. We may not even be sure which side of the cut we are. We may feel that we are no longer connected to God. We may feel numb, that we are going to wither away. But feelings can be misleading. The connection to God does not depend on them. We may find it hard to do the things we know we should to strengthen the connection, to read the Bible and find it speaking to us, to focus on prayer. When life is topsy-turvy, we may find it hard to settle and to concentrate. But that's okay. It is for a time and can produce new growth in the future. This connection with God is as close as the connection of a branch to the main stem. He lives in us. He loves us. The fruit that are produced come from God living in us. We will see love, joy, peace and patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness and self-control all growing in us. These are signs of the careful pruning God has done. As these fruit grow in us, we will be a blessing, leading to new growth in others' lives, maybe where we least expect it. We will show people that they are valued, loved, and that they too are welcomed into this flourishing life.
O Spirit, pour. There is comfort for your pain, O Spirit, pour. Can you see the kingdom come? Can you see the kingdom come? O morning heart, let your sorrow find a home, O morning heart. Can you see the kingdom come? Can you see the kingdom come? Hear it coming, feel it now. Hear it coming, feel it now. Can you see the kingdom come? Can you see the kingdom come? Oh, thirsty soul, fill your cup to overflow. Oh, thirsty soul, can you see the kingdom come? Can you see the kingdom come? Hear it coming, feel it now. Hear it coming, feel it now. Can you see the kingdom come? Can you see the kingdom come? O Spirit, pour. There is comfort for your pain, O Spirit, pour. Can you see the kingdom come? Can you see the kingdom come? Can you see the kingdom come? Can you see the kingdom come?
The blessing of God, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit be upon you and remain with you always. Amen.